First of all, I know what you're thinking. Why is this video over 10 minutes long when Bumi deserves the title of most underrated Avatar character for these clips alone?
Kangaroo Island, eh? I hear that place is really hopping.
Let us leave!
Let us leave?
And yeah, this video could end right here, except for the fact that Sokka exists.
How am I supposed to know his name?
I got it!
Yeah?
He's an earthbender, right? Rocky! You know, because of all the rocks.
So we're gonna have to come up with something else. When I say King Bumi is underrated, I don't mean that he outshines the main cast of Avatar or anything, but I do want to draw attention to how he was able to leave such a strong and lasting impression despite appearing in only 5 episodes of the entire show. And this doesn't just go for Bumi. I also want to shed light on the importance of all of Avatar's minor characters, who are often overlooked as subjects for analysis. Of course, when you have such an incredible, well-developed cast of main characters, it's understandable why much of the praise would be directed towards them. But background characters make the world of Avatar come alive. One of the many reasons that the world building of the series feels so rich and immersive is that even the most minor characters have depth, and it's these people in the background who shape the Avatar universe. I've boiled down what makes an effective minor character in Avatar to some combination of 3 things, with a secret 4th thing that we'll get back to later. Number 1. A minor character can further a main character's growth by teaching the main character something about themselves. Lee, the Earth Kingdom boy that Zuko befriends in Zuko Alone, reminds the Banished Prince of who he is at his core, someone who protects others. Master Piandao teaches Sokka the true meaning of leadership, and that humility and masculinity go hand in hand. Katara's confrontation with Yan Ra forces her to confront her own demons, and also allows her to find forgiveness for Zuko. In all of these examples, the minor characters, whether purposefully or not, push the main characters to understand themselves on a deeper level. Number 2. A minor character can help drive the main plot. Despite the warnings of Aang's first firebending teacher, Zhang, Aang's carelessness under his mentorship causes him to injure Katara, and thus become completely averse to firebending until Season 3. Princess Yue affects the plot by literally saving the world, and her death also instills a fear in Sokka of losing people he's meant to protect. Professor Zay brings the gang to Wan Shitong's library, June takes them to the camp of the White Lotus, and the music-loving nomads bring them to the Cave of Two Lovers, and also drop a banger song.
And die.
And number 3. A minor character can teach us something about the Avatar world. This criterion could apply to any of the above characters. Lee, the Earth Kingdom boy, and Song, the Earth Kingdom girl who takes in Zuko and Iroh, both teach Zuko, and us, about the devastating effects of the Fire Nation's imperialism. There are tons of other minor characters who do this as well, from Haru to Jet to Hama to even the mechanic at the Northern Air Temple who sells weapons to the Fire Nation. Stories like theirs come up again and again throughout the series, so we're continually reminded of the amount of destruction and trauma caused by the Fire Nation and its perception by the rest of the world. On the flip side, the naivete of the Earth King and the cunning of Long Feng show us that a city untouched by the Fire Nation like Ba Sing Se isn't all sunshine and rainbows either, and that it's not just firebenders who are capable of evil. Oh, and the Cabbage Man teaches us that selling cabbages probably isn't the most stable source of income, at least in the Avatar universe. So how does King Bumi embody each of these elements, and what makes him stand out among all the other minor characters? To answer this, let's go through King Bumi's most iconic moments in the series, or most unhinged depending on how you look at them, starting with number 4, devising a deadly, elaborate escape room just to mess with a 12-year-old he was friends with like 100 years ago. In the episode The King of Omashu, Bumi has Aang retrieve a key from a waterfall surrounded by stalagmites, get chased by a goat gorilla, and duel Bumi himself, who is, in his own words, the most powerful earthbender you'll ever meet, all while Aang's friend slowly become encased by sentient ring pops. But, you see, Bumi didn't do all this just for shits and giggles, though probably partially, but he also did it to teach Aang a lesson. He wanted Aang to learn how to think outside the box and find creative solutions to difficult problems, almost in the same way that Aang was later able to find a creative solution to his difficult problem of defeating Ozai without killing him, i.e. taking away his bending. Bumi had the foresight to understand the direction the world was going in, and he had the wisdom to prepare Aang for his destiny as the Avatar. Moreover, Bumi is the oldest friend Aang has in all senses of the word, since he's the last living relic of Aang's past besides Appa. Aang's whole character arc revolves around his maturing from being a fun-loving kid to shouldering his responsibility as the Avatar, but, like Monk Gyatso, Bumi shows Aang that he can still have fun even with the daunting tasks ahead of him, and in fact, that might be the only way to do it. Bumi continues to dispense wisdom in iconic Bumi moment number 3, his reaction to the Fire Nation taking over Omashu.
I'm going to do nothing.
Despite Aang's pleas, Bumi doesn't escape his prison to become Aang's earthbending teacher. Instead, he tells Aang he needs to find someone else who also understands the importance of listening and waiting. In doing so, Bumi drives the plot forward by initiating Aang's journey to search for who would become his destined earthbending teacher, Toph. In addition to moving the plot, Bumi's appearance in this episode also teaches us something about the Avatar world. Firstly, the fact that you can earthbend with just your face, but also certain aspects of the world's philosophical framework, specifically when Bumi introduces the term neutral Jing. Bumi explains neutral Jing to Aang as doing nothing, in contrast with positive Jing attacking and negative Jing retreating. Part of what makes Avatar's world building feel so true to life is that so much of it is inspired by real-world cultures and philosophies, from the application of martial arts to bending to the variety of cultures represented by the Four Nations. In this case, Bumi's conception of neutral Jing echoes the idea of Wu Wei in the Chinese philosophy of Daoism. Now, if you need a refresher on Daoism, Alright, so Daoism is an ancient philosophy often associated with the yin and yang symbol and concepts like balance and going with the natural flow of things. There's way too much to get into about it for a digression in a YouTube video about a king who eats rocks, so read the Wikipedia if you want a brief overview. For the purposes of this segment, I'm just going to focus on the Taoist principle of Wu Wei, which translates literally to non-action. Now, one big misconception about Taoism is that non-action means literally just sitting there, doing nothing, watching the world burn to ashes in front of you. No. What it really means, or at least my interpretation of it on a practical level, is attaining without striving. Think of it like this. Let's say you're really desperate for a relationship, so you sign up for a ton of dating apps, you go on some terrible dates, you meet some super toxic people whose numbers are all blocked on your phone now, and after a few months of that, you're totally convinced you'll never find love, and while there are a lot of fish in the sea, most of them tend to be unagi. And not the delicious kind. A more Taoist approach would be to stop trying so hard to find a partner and focus instead on just living your life, taking it one day at a time, and doing things that are good for you like cultivating healthy habits, building your self-worth, investing in pursuits you're passionate about, and so on. And then, one day, when you feel whole and content all by yourself, you will naturally and pretty much effortlessly attract someone who likes you for who you are without having to do anything extra for it. According to Taoism, in order to reorder your life, you first have to reorder yourself by cultivating inner peace and contentment. If you really want something, then work for it, but it's only when you let go of your obsession with the outcome that you finally get it. It's like Chinese handcuffs. The harder you try to escape them, the more tightly you'll be bound. Or like how the more Season 1 Zuko struggles to get his honor back, the further he strays from it. Side note, Uncle Iroh is another character who absolutely embodies Taoist principles, but Iroh is a topic for another video, or a PhD thesis. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled programming. Like a true Taoist, Bumi understands that doing nothing doesn't mean that nothing gets done. He surrenders to the Fire Nation initially because he knows that fighting back will result in unnecessary carnage and suffering for the people of Omashu, and that for the moment, it's best to lie low and wait until the right opportunity comes to free his city. And when it does, he wastes no time in seizing it. Which brings me to iconic Bumi moment number 2, jailbreak.
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G. Snoop Dogg. You know I'm mobbing with the D.R.E.
The best part about Bumi busting out of prison is that he had the ability to do so the entire time he was there, but he hid it from his captors the same way that Iroh hid his abilities while imprisoned, pretending to be a crazy old man while he was secretly on that Sigma grind set. Bumi actually is a crazy old man, but he's also totally lucid at the same time. His outward eccentricity is the perfect, unassuming cover that makes his enemies underestimate him, just as Aang did when he chose to fight him in episode 5. Like any great Avatar character, Bumi subverts your expectations of him. As Swinz wisely puts it in The Art of War, never let him know your next move. Seriously, we don't even know how Bumi became the king of Omashu since he doesn't seem to have been born into it, but because of what we know about his character, we don't even really question it because it honestly kinda checks out for him. And this is what Bumi accomplishes to arguably a higher degree than most other minor characters. The thing that sets him apart is also the most obvious: his character. His wacky appearance, his immediately recognizable laugh, his unhinged and idiosyncratic personality. The most memorable side characters are, well, memorable. This distinctiveness is the secret fourth ingredient I mentioned earlier that makes for a good minor character, or any character really, and there are other minor characters who also have distinctive designs. June has her goth girl look, and Jet has his little wheat stalk thingy. But Bumi's mannerisms and design are the most dissimilar to anyone else's. Another minor character, Master Paku, actually appears in one more episode than Bumi, but in my opinion, the uniqueness of Bumi's attributes make him comparatively much more memorable. All in all, though, it's a testament to Avatar storytelling that its minor characters never just feel like vehicles for the plot, but feel significant in and of themselves. Bumi especially feels like a fully realized individual who stands on his own as a character independent of being a device for the plot. So we've seen how, as a major minor character, Bumi helps the main characters grow, directly affects the storyline, teaches us about the world, and possesses his own iconic idiosyncrasies that make him stick in our minds. Now, it's time for a test.
Oh, but what's the point of tests if you don't learn anything?
Oh, come on!
As you can see, I've structured this video much in the same way that Bumi structured his escape room, a series of learning experiences, and then a final question to test your knowledge. So here's the question: what can we learn from Bumi? Okay, since I'm not Dora and I can't hear your answers, I'll give you a few ideas to start with. For one, we can learn the power of both action and non-action, and understand situations when either one is needed. We can also learn to open our minds to the possibilities, to see things as more than they appear on the surface, which goes for Bumi himself as well. He is so much more than he appears in mind, body, and spirit. He looks like a weak old man, but is still an earthbending master at age 112. He acts like a fool, but is overflowing with ingenuity. With that in mind, Bumi teaches us that we, too, can be so much more than we appear on the surface. We can embrace what makes us unique, uncover the potential of who we can become, and reach unimaginable heights. Or should I say, grounds? As long as we open our minds to it. Oh, and if you're wondering what iconic Bumi moment number 1 is, it's this.
Wait, someone's missing from your group. Someone very important. Where's Momo?
He's gone. And so is Aang.
Oh well, so long as they have each other, I'm sure we have nothing to worry about. Let's go.